Good afternoon, everyone. I guess we'll get started. We'll begin with the pledge. Oh, they're right here. Yeah. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And Missoula County acknowledges that this event in the Sophie Moise Room takes place on the Aboriginal territories of the Salish and Kalispel people. Is there any public announcements or public comment on items not on the agenda? Our current claims list as of August 31st, 2022 to September 6th, 2022 is $914,305.54. We have 5 hearings this afternoon, and we'll begin with Chris Lounsbury with our initiate hearing. Is that how?
Initial.
Initial.
Yeah.
Initial hearing for special district for local government building.
Thanks, Commissioners. So Chris Lounsbury, the Chief Administrative Officer for Missoula County. So what we're here today is to ask you to open a public hearing, the initial public hearing on the creation of a special district, which will be used as the vehicle to transfer the federal building to the control of Missoula County and the city of Missoula in partnership. So as you know, we've been working for the last couple of years with the federal government and the National Park Service to have the federal building turned over to local government for local government use as part of the National Parks process as a historic monument. As part of that process, we need a single entity to be the owner of that building, and that's what this special district will do, is create a single entity that's controlled by the county and the city jointly to actually hold physical possession of the building itself. And so this special district only encompasses the federal building itself. It does not encompass any other property other than the federal building.
So not the lawn around it, or what?
The parcel that includes the federal building,
Okay.
yes. Yeah, but it's the federal building itself. So that piece of land on which the federal building itself sits, which includes the parking lot and the grassy area, just like a regular lot.
Okay.
Although obviously it's several lots in order to do that. But it basically encompasses the land footprint that is the federal building at 200 East Broadway. And so with this initial hearing, the way the special district process works is we need to have an initial public hearing, and you'll hold the public comment period open for the required period of time, and then we will close the public hearing, and then you'll pass after this initial resolution that goes with the first public hearing, there'll be a second resolution when you close the public hearing period for it, and then an opportunity to adopt the special district. And so this process is happening in parallel with the city of Missoula. So this has been referred to committee there, and then we'll go out for them to start their public hearing process at, I believe, Monday's city council meeting.
Okay. Any comment, questions? Don't see anyone online or on the phone either. Okay, it's open.
Yes, and so the motion would be to adopt
Oh,
the
I'm sorry.
the resolution for the initial public hearing would be the motion today. It's a little different
What do you
than what
think,
you
Dave?
typically do.
So there's actually a resolution for.
There is actually a resolution.
I would
in order to do
move
this.
exactly what Chris said.
Okay. Second, any further discussion or comment? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, Eric Dixon with Kona Ranch Road speed limit.
Yes, good afternoon. Eric Dixon, County Engineer with the Missoula County Public Works Department. In October of 2021, our office received a request to lower the speed limit on Kona Ranch Road, which is currently posted at 45 miles an hour, and remove the allowance of a two-way passing zone. We completed an engineering investigation in December of last year that did not recommend an engineering justification for the requested considerations. After that, a petition was received by the Board of County Commissioners that again requested the speed limit be reexamined and the allowance of a passing zone be reconsidered based on safety concerns with increased traffic speed and volume. So that's the purpose of this hearing. It's in response to that petition that was received by the Commissioner's office. So we do have the original engineering report included for review and the petition itself. So I'll keep it brief and open the discussion.
Thanks, Eric.
Actually, let me share my screen just so we can show everyone that's with us where we're talking about in case they're not familiar with it. So I guess I could give a little better history. So Kona Ranch Road is about 5 miles west of Missoula off of Mullen Road. It connects Mullen Road to Big Flat Road. It's about 1.3 miles long. It was constructed in the mid-1980s by the Montana Department of Transportation as a replacement for the Harpers Bridge Road crossing, which the bridge at that time was deemed unsafe. So this new crossing of the Clark Fork River was provided. So that's the history of when it was constructed. Again, it's posted at 45 miles an hour currently. To my knowledge, it has been posted that way since it was constructed in the mid-1980s, but I'm not entirely sure of that. I believe there are others in the neighborhood there that may have a little more knowledge of how that road developed and what the speed limits have been since they probably lived there as long as that road's been in existence. So I guess if that's enough of a history, I'll leave it at that.
Thanks, Eric. Do we have any other staff who want to present on this or discuss this? And I can't tell who's online. Are there any comments on this or the petitioners? Or anyone in the room? And Eric, when was that study done?
So we received the request in October of last year. We had the time and actually completed the data collection in October and November, completed the report in December. And again, that report, for current engineering standards, we couldn't justify a reduced speed limit on that road. It has wide travel lanes. They're 12 feet long, 12 feet wide. We have 5-foot wide paved shoulders. It's relatively straight and level. There were over an 8-year period, there were 16 accidents. There was nothing really that showed a cluster indicating that there was one location that was a problem. They were generally spread out over the 1.3 miles of the road. So based on our engineering information, there wasn't a good justification to say that speed limit was inappropriate. We collected speed data, and actually it's posted at 45 miles an hour, but in certain parts, I can pull that up here. The speeds there, you can see. I'll make that a little larger. So in November of 2021, those are the travel speeds. So between Big Flat and the Clark Fork River, eastbound 51 miles an hour, westbound 56. So even with that posted speed limit of 45, the generally accepted method for determining a speed limit on an existing road is to use the 85th percentile. So when we're posted at 45 miles an hour right now, these speeds that are shown for the actual travel population, a speed limit of 50 miles an hour could very well be justified based solely on that typical practice of using the 85th percentile speed. But the engineering data that we use doesn't necessarily account for the social impacts, some of the concerns of the neighborhood. So that's why you have the opportunity through Montana Code Annotated that gives you the chance to lower that speed limit without the benefit of the engineering investigation. And you can just make that decision administratively to lower that speed limit if you so choose.
Thanks. And I think, no, I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead. I feel like it would be great if we could be responsive to the neighborhood and the community. And their concerns that wasn't there a couple times where a child was hit? Am I exaggerating or misremembering that?
There was at least one.
No, of those 16 accidents, 2 involved pedestrians. One was a child crossing the road to get to the school bus. Another one I don't have a lot of details on. All I know that it was in 2020 in the summer at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, which could very well be attributed to the popular nature of the river access and the pedestrians and the conflicts with vehicular traffic. So of the 16 accidents in 8 years, 2 involve pedestrians, yes.
Okay. I'd be fine with lowering it even though it's a well-engineered road and it's flat and straight and everyone wants to drive fast, but there's a lot of people there, so.
Ready for a motion?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, we have comment?
is there any comment? I guess not.
Yeah, I concur based on the public testimony that we've heard in prior meetings regarding this stretch of road and folks' perception that this is a possible solution to some of the problems they're seeing out there. I would support lowering the speed limit and eliminating the passing zone. So I would move that we adopt a resolution establishing a 35 mile per hour speed limit and eliminating passing zones on Kona Ranch Road.
Second, any further discussion or public comment?
I would
Okay.
just want to thank folks who participated in bringing this before us. And also, even though it's not clear if anyone from the public out there who is interested in this is joining us today, I would just say, as I think we've probably said in the past, in the spirit of tempering expectations a little, this does not necessarily mean that we're going to have increased law enforcement presence out there to ensure that folks are held to this 35 mile per hour standard. Hopefully there will be those folks who of their own accord recognize the speed limit has been lowered and will drive slower. And there's other things that we can do to try to encourage folks to drive slower, but this does not necessarily mean there's going to be a sheriff's deputy parked on Kona Ranch Road every day to keep folks in line.
Thanks, Dave. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you so much, Eric.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Shane Stack, opening hearing on no parking resolution.
All right. Good afternoon, commissioners. Eric, I don't know if you want to.
He's still sharing.
Yeah, I'll share my screen. Maybe that'll. Let me know. Gosh, if you can see my screen.
Not yet.
All right. I give it a go here.
There we go.
Awesome. All right. So I'll give you a little bit of history and maybe we'll just talk about where this location is. If you can see the large structure to the west, that's Big Sky High School. The road here, kind of in the middle of the page, is West Central Avenue. And the roads that I'm going to describe are 29th and North. And I'll zoom in a little bit. Gosh, probably 2 years ago, the folks that live on North Avenue and 29th reached out and wanted to know if Missoula County would and could maintain 29th and North Avenue. And given the narrowness and the condition of the roadway, basically we communicated that it would be pretty challenging, but if the roadway was improved and there was a location for a turnaround, either at North Avenue, the end of North Avenue, or at the end of 29th, we could certainly maintain the road. And so the group of property owners got together and formed an RSID, and that was created earlier, gosh, probably this past spring. That process was completed, and then this summer, Public Works was able to pave 29th and North, which included a cul-de-sac at the end of North Avenue. One of the challenges with maintaining the roadway is being able to turn around, and what we want to do is create a no parking resolution on the cul-de-sac and a little bit of North Avenue, just to make sure that roadway is clear of vehicles in the wintertime and even in the summer months, so that we can get equipment in there and turned around, or emergency vehicles can get turned around. So that's kind of the history behind the resolution. And I'll also show you, this is a drawing. You can kind of see the shape of the cul-de-sac here, and then this is the right-of-way. So there would essentially be 150 feet of no parking. This cross-hatched zone is basically the end of that road, and covers that 60-foot right-of-way plus the cul-de-sac area. So I'll jump back to this image. It's basically from this line back 150 feet, which gets you somewhere in this area here. So that's the kind of the background. Really today, all we wanted to do is open up the hearing and offer up the opportunity for folks to provide feedback on the proposal. I've had two different people reach out, and I guess I'll kind of share a synopsis. One person recommended that all of North, this whole stretch here, have no parking. And then I've also had somebody reach out and say all of 29th and all of North should have no parking. And I guess I will open it up to you folks there in the Sophie Mo East to share comments or ask questions.
So I'm sorry, I was just looking at the cars parked on 29th in the photo, or the aerial. And so that would,
Okay, you want me to?
I was
Yeah,
just,
you want me to
so
go back to that one?
if people have house guests, where would those house guests park?
They would essentially be forced to park in their driveways and with the limited space.
Got it. Okay, thanks. Go ahead, Dave.
Shane, would you mind bringing up the image with the right-of-way displayed and the cul-de-sac?
Yep.
So is it the case right now that, is this displaying the full extent of the right-of-way? And is it the case that the property, I guess it would be, the way this is oriented, I guess it would be on the east side or the lower side of the image here, is encroaching into that 30 feet? Is that the... So there might, for all intents and purposes, even though it's a no parking zone, part of it is perhaps not going to, it would never be parked on because that property has encroached with their landscaping or whatnot into the right of way, or do I have that wrong?
Well, they could, and so let me zoom in a little bit here. So and this yellow line, I think, probably runs kind of down the middle of the right of way. And so if you imagine another straight line running across here, that would show you where the existing right of way is. Plus, we did end up purchasing a little bit of an arc up here to get the cul-de-sac shifted more to the north. And so that's where you see this funny little bubble shape here. That's kind of where that sits, is right here. So Dave, yeah, we do have a 60-foot right-of-way in here. You are correct that there is landscaping and things like that and grass here, but there is still a roadway that's anywhere from 20 to 24 feet wide, and then probably with this cul-de-sac, you've got a 50-foot diameter radius, and so there is a paved surface in here. But you are correct that the roadway abuts right up against a lot of this landscaping, but that doesn't mean that people wouldn't go park a vehicle right on the edge of the road, or even on the driving surface.
No, I get it. I guess my point in asking the question is that there's even more of a justification for a no parking area here, given the fact that the property owner has already encroached into the right of way, eating up space that could otherwise hypothetically be used for parking.
Correct. Yeah, when you look at these photos, you can obviously see this space is not used for roadway. It's not just one property owner. It's, the property is all the way down North Avenue on that southern side.
Thank you.
Is there any comment in the room on this? Okay, or online or on the phone? Okay, this is just open. We don't need to do anything. Okay. Oh, I thought this said second hearing.
I believe the second hearing is going to be on October 6th.
Oh, I'm misreading. I'm sorry. Thank you. I was misreading. Okay, we're opening this hearing. Thank you. Thanks, Shane.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, this is where I'm at. Second hearing for road abandonment petition. Patrick Swart. Or Steve Nide.
I'm standing in for Patrick. So today we have the second hearing of the petition to abandon and the fourth hearing of the petition to alter the same road, the Bitterroot Road. For the second hearing of the abandonment, you, Juanita, and I did a road investigation, and that took place on September the 6th. Along with us, we had Bart Morris, David Mead, and Thomas Albrandt meet us on site, and we discussed the petition and the options, and at that time and at this time, we have not yet made a recommendation. There are to be another road viewing, there is to be another road viewing to determine in large part whether there is other public accesses to public property that would replace the one that's under petition now. That viewing will be held October the 25th, and we will meet at Lower Miller Creek Road and Old Bitterroot Road, and let's meet at 3 p.m. And all are welcome to attend that. And from there, which is a potential alternate access, we will most likely look at several others. So I suspect that that meeting, that viewing may take a couple of hours. After that viewing, we will come back and meet on November the 3rd here in this room at 2 p.m. And at that public meeting, we will hopefully make a decision on both petitions, although that's not necessarily the case if more information is deemed necessary by you commissioners.
Thanks, Steve. Well, is there anyone in the room who'd like to speak to this? We have our brand new analog timekeepers here. Can you see it? Yeah. You can at least watch. I mean, you can't see the stream. It's probably difficult to see, but you can see the mass. Yeah. Okay. Anyone online who'd like to speak to this? Okay. And then I guess the next one is the fourth hearing for the alteration petition. Would anyone like to speak to that? We don't see anyone in the room or online. Oh my gosh, are we to other business? I do have a quick question since Eric Dixon and Shane Steck are still on. Do we ever get the no parking signs up on, is it River Pines or Riverside? I can't remember which road that's called.
I think we already put them up one.
Okay, great. I was just,
You're talking at the other, kind of that west side of the Clay Bridge.
correct, yep. And Steve
Yeah.
is nodding his head, so, okay. Thanks.
Commissioner?
Yes.
Steve already said this, but I want to make it clear. The commission will hear both of these petitions, the petition to alter and the petition to abandon, again at its public meeting at 2 p.m. on November the 3rd. But between now and then, people are welcome to provide written comment in whatever form to the commissioner's office. We're compiling that. We're keeping those all in one place. If you can't find those on our website, call the commissioner's staff and they will direct you to the link and you can review all the comment that we've received.
And so is there a statutory requirement to make a decision on the 3rd? Or if there's more information that is needed or what have you, we can?
Yeah, we're going to do this field trip on the 25th. We're going to start out looking at the old Bitterroot Road access to the Bitterroot River. We will probably then look at least 2 different access sites near Lolo, one near Riverside Park and one near the wastewater treatment plant for the Lolo Sewer District. And there may be others. I think those are the ones that we're going to hit for sure. And then we'll come back with that information about those sites and whether or not those are substantially the same as as provided by the road at issue. And you may or may not be ready to make a decision on November 3rd. And that'll depend on how you feel. That'll depend on comments that you receive between now and then. That'll depend on comments that you hear on November 3rd. But there is no statutory obligation to make a decision that day.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Okay, everyone have a great afternoon.